Alright, the hythloday video, try another one this time, but finish the end of this one. And so just continuing on the general subject of all the real scientists think relativity's dead, except the ones doing LIGO who need it because somehow hythloday thinks it provides some reason or some explanation about how you can convert extra mass, the acceleration mass, into gravity waves. Something like that. It really is kind of Ken Wheeler-ish. It's getting that bizarre.
Gravitational wave is suffering under the inverse square law, okay? Now...
Yes, it's a big problem for the idea of a gravitational wave getting to Earth that's measurable. The inverse square law makes it nonsensical.
Similarly with the neutron stars, which aren't as dense as black holes, but thousands of light years away. Again...
well, actually, it's hundreds of thousands, in the sense of millions. Yes, 120 million light years away.
Suffering under the inverse square law. So, you know...
I mean, it's sort of important, right? I mean, you could say thousands of light years, and, you know, and it could be hundreds of thousands, and then it could be millions. And these are huge numbers when it comes to an inverse square law that basically says you get so much weaker with distance.
Given they're so far away and so long ago, we're safe, yeah? But...
well, again, the idea is this is a phenomenon taking place in the universe with some regularity, as being turns out. So you can say that maybe only the old universe did it. You know, the 120 million light years ago universe had these phenomenons. But if you believe the universe isn't aging that quickly and changing that dramatically, then you have to concede that these events are happening with some regularity. And that certainly if we're within a few 100,000 light years of one of these events, we would be doomed.
Undoubtedly, perhaps a gravitational wave in itself could be destructive to us if it was local enough.
Yeah, local enough meaning not pretty far away. Just by like I said, their own math dictates it. If it can shake rocks here, it's going to do so much. It's just going to completely turn to dust. Anything close.
So that's that. You know, it says, show me where it says that. Show me where it says that. It's here. It says it all.
Okay, so he says it's here. It's not here at all. He can't turn this math into a gravitational wave in any way whatsoever. It's just a pile of crap. It's not there. It's not. If Einstein thought it was there, he would have said it was there. It's not there. So that's just crap. It's a crap response to say it's there when you have no evidence that it's there.
Seen the equations that the gentleman didn't want to take credit for. You know, Einstein did these in 1916. Yeah, those are the equations which say it. All right.
What equations? Sorry, didn't get that.
And they're not explanations, but neither are your explanations complete.
Well, they're far more complete in the sense they do explain why magnets create attraction. My theory does explain how these bigger objects absorb acceleration. And how it's not some sort of infinite well that the force falls into or disappears into. The energy stays in the real universe. It doesn't convert into anything else. It creates the forces that hold atoms together, the strong and the weak forces, and it creates the forces that create magnetism and electricity. It does all of these things. It doesn't just do gravity and disappear. It's not temporary energy. Alright, so we'll try number 2 here, or the next in the series, or whatever you want to call it. So, load the right page to be able to do that. Sorry, a bit tired. Tedious. Alright, so this one's called Technical versus Non-Technical Layperson. And it's some sort of dissy daff. And so again, we'll just point out fat pedophile. No doubt about it. Obviously, really. Just so obvious. No doubt his son is one too. Just throw that in.
Arguing the technical with a non-technical person.
Yeah, right. Well, those are your paraphrases or descriptions, and it's just bullshit. Okay, you know, you're just playing word games here. You're saying you're giving a technical description by saying something stupid like, "Oh yeah, I perfectly get how geometry tells mass what to do." Well, because you get it. You have to have some sort of that requires a higher mind to understand an explanation as vacuous as that. God done it.
It's futile, perhaps, or at least bloody hard work.
Yeah, well, time will demonstrate who was the asshole in all this bullshit, okay? So we'll see. I mean, I'm quite confident in my position. I haven't broken any rules or cheated any arguments. You assholes just keep playing this hypocrisy game. Our science doesn't have to justify itself. Us we's, don't have to defend our bullshit because we are a big group of people. And you have to itemize every fraction of an inch. And I would clearly never be capable of contriving Copenhagen or many worlds, or it could be this and it could be that and it could be this. Right? Your we group gets to have 15 million different definitions of everything and descriptions of everything. And yet you call something like the standard model. Yet you don't all agree with it. And now here you are making videos saying, oh, all the real theoretical physicists don't even believe in space-time. So something is highly touted. It can't be a more highly touted thing than this stupid theory of relativity. And now you're saying, oh no, well that's just a placeholder for the real answer. We're almost there.
I've talked about many autistic traits.
Oh, fuck,
one that he doesn't.
I'm not going to waste any time on that kind of shit.
Are usually
fuck you, I'm not autistic, asshole. You want to use excuses for your imbecility? Go ahead and make excuses for it, okay? It's bullshit concept, it's bullshit medicine, it's bullshit. Okay? Most autistics are just lazy fat asses who want to read comic books. This is just crap. Sorry, no sale.
And part of the reason I watched many times the Susskind lectures on quantum physics and took notes. And the first year was in my first year of mathematics degree, and it was very difficult. It was only after my second year of mathematics degree, when I'd done linear algebra, when I could then watch the Susskind lectures and get a firmer handle on them. And then it was probably a year later before...
Yeah, and then you realized, oh, I'm not getting a handle on anything anyway, because this is really so convoluted, a trail of irrational numbers and irrational theorems and, you know, ... everywhere. I mean, it's just you know, there's no point in getting the answer, because clearly, in my opinion, it seems kind of obvious that the real universe isn't doing all of that crap. There's got to be a simpler description of the variables, because the variables aren't as numerous as the ones they're creating.
Many ideas coalesced and became concrete in my mind.
Yes, well, I'm just saying, your concrete ideas of what? Oh yes, geometry makes stuff happen. Yes, the geometry of nothing. The geometry of the nothing space clearly is controlling the universe.
So, when Mendham says, when I say there are 16 variables in one of these tensor objects, these matrices, when Mendham goes, oh, all that is talking about the tension in the flow or something, whatever he says. But you know, it's like, oh right, is that all? Is that all we need to know? Are you sure that's all there is to to the
Yeah. Well, if you've done enough matrixing math, then you would know that all you're going to end up with is a number like 1 or 0 when you're done with this bullshit anyway. You're either going to blow your equation up by multiplying by 0, or you're going to keep your equation alive. But pretty much that's all you're going to end up with. You're not going to get some fancy, interesting number out of all that crap.
complexity of it. Like, he says it with authority. Yeah? Like, he couldn't show that. And he's always demanding it. Well, he doesn't show it. Yeah?
Well, why don't you show it? Why don't you actually do this fucking contrived bullshit math and put real numbers in it somewhere, and then demonstrate how these numbers aren't something you could just take a guess at anyway? Why do we need to be accurate to 0.000000004 million places? I mean, it's just fucking bullshit. For what value does any of that have? When we know what the basic concept is, that the thing accelerates, and accelerates at a rate that it gains its acceleration. And that has a consequence, and as I've explained the consequence, yes, the mechanical model of Mach gravity does it quite well. So you don't need all that complex math.
I'm telling you that to show these things, you have to have done and studied general relativity at a deep level, and that's where these equations come from.
They don't come from it, they are it. But whatever. And they're contrivances. Einstein contrived the equations. I mean, clearly, he was asked about the precession of Mercury, and he was given a few months to contrive an equation that accounted for it, and he did. Okay, because simply, like I said, all you had to do was recognize two factors. First, that the center of gravity of the sun is precessing itself, which is a huge factor, and the speed of gravity. And that gravity is inductive, so he separates the gravitational event into two events. Okay, where Newton had it as one event. Big difference.
It's simply a non-technical person can meet the technical arguments. But you've got to credit Mendham for pulling off, a blag. He blags it very well. He bluffs his way very well, just by constant interruption of technical.
Yeah, whatever. Again, that's just bullshit too. So again, all of this technical shit, and you're really talking about whether it's push or pull. How is this technical shit going to get that answer? It's not going to give you that answer. The variables don't change. All you're changing is the mechanism. And again, the push force, where the force doesn't go down a drain, where it goes through the object, is very explains. It satisfies the obligation.
Details and espousing that without evidence. Okay.
The evidence is in the consistency of the model, in the sense that the model does explain gravity, it does explain magnetism, and it does explain the nuclear forces. So you show me how it doesn't explain those things, how the model doesn't work. Then you can sit there and say, it's garbage, here's how it doesn't work. It does work.
The fact that when I say high-end physicists, I don't mean college lecturers, university lecturers. No, I mean active academics in the...
Yeah, well, whatever even that means. The active academics aren't doing these presentation talking head shows, so I don't think that even washes. But regardless, fine. You say there's a whole group of physicists somewhere who are actually getting right answers instead of just talking old shit. Well, fine. They're obviously not making themselves known to anybody else but you, apparently. They can't do what I'm doing, make videos on YouTube. Too tough for their big brains.
Field pushing the boundaries of progress, yeah, until a theory becomes...
The boundaries of progress. And in the light of what progress? You will not cure a hangnail with the billions of dollars wasted on gravitational wave research. So what preposterous nonsense that there's some productivity coming out of theoretical physics. Oh, fucking bullshit. The guys hands-on who are tweaking the machines, they're the guys doing the inventing. All right, the theoreticians aren't doing the inventing. The guys fucking with the machines are.
And a theory can live. There are many theories There are the Suskins, the Androlindes, the
Yeah, exactly the point I just raised before. If I pulled that bullshit, if I just showed up on this channel one day and talked one kind of nonsense, and the next day I'll talk another kind of nonsense, and oh yeah, well it's okay, we'll do unicorns today, and tomorrow we're gonna do pink water elephants, and then Thursday we'll come up with some other bullshit. Yeah, come on. Yeah, I'd have what? How much credibility would I have? Oh, that's right, absolutely zero. And yet your we group, that's what you are. You're a bunch of self-contradictory, convenient physics. Whatever's convenient today to fit into whatever niche and whatever's popular. Yet you'll demand that we have to, we have to put things on idols. We have to put them on, keep them as solid things like gravitational lensing or some other bullshit. Because without that silly theory, you can't rationalize your mumbo jumbo, even though you have no evidence for it. Like gravitational waves, you have no rational standard model evidence of this phenomenon. And then you'll paste, as I keep saying, you'll paste Einstein's image on it.
The guy who I don't know his name, he's new to me, whose video I uploaded, who's researching gravitational waves. Oh, there's the Nima.
Yeah, I saw the crap videos. Like I said, they're crap. I'm only 20 minutes or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes maybe into that one. But anyway, yeah, I'll play it if that's what you want me to do, and go right through it and point out how these are all kind of, they just walk right over the important facts. Silly things like, well, the absolute velocity. Would anybody realistically think that you measure some kind of thing called velocity by adding V1 and V2? So two cars are passing each other. I'm supposed to rationally think one of the cars is actually going V? One of them's actually going the combined velocity? No, neither one of them are going it. It's not a rational thing. It's not a real thing. It's a perceived thing. It has nothing to do with real physics. There's no real 120 miles an hour anywhere. There's just 60 miles an hour and 60 miles an hour. Now, if you want to talk about the force of when they crash into each other, yeah, then adding it makes sense. But if you're going to use another V, say there's some other V in the universe, there's some other velocity, no, there's just the two velocities, 60 miles and 60 miles. You don't get to add them for any purpose. There's no function for the combined V, unless you were looking for the combined force.
These people are currently publishing papers.
Yes, we already did this thing too, so yes, he just keeps ignoring the point. I've done at least 4 papers now from scientific publications and pointed out insane flaws. And those are the people that are the gatekeepers to your we science. Your we only publish good science. No, you publish crap. And it has to just come from one of the crap institutions. That's all. It has the stamp of crap institution approval on it, and it just slides right through the publishing process. It's just bullshit, quite obviously. It's bullshit. Explain again how there was anything rational about posting a fucking scientific article about detecting the speed of gravity when there was a 25% margin of error. Go ahead and tell me how that could make any rational sense to anybody who has any just basic cognitive skills.
The deGrasse Tysons, your fielder guy, the big talking head, is string theory or whatnot.
Yeah, you got a Kaku. Yes, that's a string theory loony. And Green.
These guys, they published a paper when they were new graduates and done enough to secure, a place in a university, a regular income, and then they're just interested in publishing, become community.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's published any good theoretical physics in the last 20 years. Where's the brilliant theoretical physics articles? Yeah, they're going to be on something stupid like LIGO. You think that's you think that's good science? Well, we just made up a new theory that we can turn matter into waves.
Communicators, because they realise they can't generate new ideas and they've not got the inspiration, so they're just promulgators and communicators of of sometimes these high-end things, but often just the established views. But the high-end stuff isn't established, so it won't get taught. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, so this high-end stuff. So he thinks this is the high-end guy. You know. It's just, you know, like I said, I can think I can rip his video to pieces. You even ripped it to pieces in the sense that you pointed out that, well, that's not that big a number. There's lots of constants that are bigger than that number. You don't think I can pick his crap to pieces?
That's for research graduation, masters, PhDs, and higher courses. You know, your basic undergraduate, 90% of them don't go on to work in that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We can talk about Susskind. What category does he fit in? He has this whole stupid information nonsense. Information being collected on the cusp of the, on the event horizon of the black hole, and that, if you could make an information projector, you could hologram the universe. Well, you think all that bullshit makes any fucking sense? Shit.
Field. Yeah, it's just a tool to get a management training job or whatever, yeah, or some technical job. Just like the Geldof guy who's ended up, just a maintenance man. I got a higher university qualification and worked as just a service engineer. That's the truth of it. You can't judge this. Yeah, you're swimming in a small pond, and the pond I'm talking about is a similar.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't. You're just doing your elitist bullshit game, okay? Instead of judging the arguments being made, judging the effort gone to detail something, okay? You're not doing that. Like I said, your guys can just wash over any details they want, and then you're asking me to explain how the first electron was born. You're not putting any pressure on them at all. None. Zero. You just let them get away with it. And then you rationalize the bullshit. I show you an article where the image doesn't even match the fucking article. And what do? You just make rationalizations. Well, they obviously superimposed the image and put a fake date on it because you're too stupid to understand reality, and they had to shorten the distance for you or something. When that can't be a rational explanation because the photograph doesn't match the article. So if they want to fake a photograph to match the article, they should have at least made the fake photograph match the article. For fuck's sake.
The metaphor's not worked out that, but it's certainly a different pond, yeah, that I'm talking about. And this is where a non-technical person can't meet it because he's swimming in the other small pond, or large pond, whichever. But he's swimming in the wrong pond.
This is just elitist bullshit. It's all this just ivory tower crap. Only the Pope can know God. Fuck you.
So I'm barely halfway through Mendon's reply, and I'm just like, did I expect anything different? I think I said it at least in take one, but I think I say, but these details slip past his ears all the time.
Right, no, you're the one who slipped past the details. You don't even understand the radar experiment. You don't understand the difference between the light experiments with the two-slit experiment, the electron experiments with the two-slit experiment, the buckyball experiment with the two-slit experiment. You don't understand the difference of the scale between doing an experiment with radar and where there's no confinement, no Huygens, no Heisenberg. You can't understand any of these points that are fundamental to understanding what's being argued. And you just sit there and say, no, we've always proven that it's one formula and it fits everything. It's one shoe and it fits every foot. Bullshit.
I clearly say things with a distinction, and all the time the distinction is omitted. He's just latched on, perhaps he has a problem with his hearing as well. He just latches on to the second part of the sentence without understanding the distinction clause. And this is un-autistic-like.
Yeah, fuck you. Again, fuck you and your autism, fuck you and your psychobabble bullshit. You can't make a rational counter-argument to what I argued, so you're just doing this attack the messenger bullshit, this irrational, drivelly crap that this has something to do with something other than the fact that I made an argument and you don't have a response to it, clearly.
somebody with autism, with a fervent interest in something, is predisposed to latch on to distinctions and details, and have a tenacity to say, I can't start spouting about these subjects until I understand what's said. And the truth is, man doesn't understand what's being said, even though I try very hard to.
Yeah, well, the viewers will have to judge that for themselves. I play your fucking video, you say something like, well, it's perfectly clear. The geometry tells the matter what to do, and the matter tells the geometry how to geometry. What more do we have to know?
Down and allow him access to these technicalities. The truth is, general relativity, by the standards of what it means within science to be a good theory, is a good theory. It's a very good theory. It's never been wrong. I never explained that, but because...
Okay, so general relativity isn't wrong, but somehow space-time is. So really, so people watching, you can understand the distinction. There's something different between space-time and general relativity. There's a distinction I'm missing? No, there's none. It's just duplicity on his part.
He can, that's objectionable to his sensibilities in the paradigm and the pool within which he swims. That can't influence the beginning video in which he wants essentially just to trot out the same old tropes with no intention of meeting the technicalities with which
again, there are no technicalities. You're not offering any technicality. You have no technicality. You have this obsession with some sort of formula, and you're saying because I can write a formula down, therefore Huygens is right and Heisenberg is right, and all the preliminary crap that went into developing that formula, all the premises and assumptions that it's based on. I don't have to accept any of those, and you haven't proven the existence of any of those. Just like they haven't proven you can convert any form of acceleration into a gravity wave. There's absolutely no theoretical or any kind of circumstance except them making it up. There's no evidence of that.
I put onto his lap. So the equation is the equation. The equation...
So again, we're just, the equation is the equation. It's not even an equation. Again, let's understand, it's an equation with 6 other formulas in it. Okay, so it's an equation that has equations in it. Right. And he says, there, I shoved an equation in front of your face there. Doesn't that prove it? When I haven't even ever seen anybody use the equation. I mean, even 60 symbols doesn't finish the equation, where they actually use it to get an answer to a question, where they start with a question, what is, and then they actually solve the equation. They put in the answer to a few variables, and then they actually resolve the equation and come up with an answer.
Says there should be phenomena which we could call, gravitational waves. No, he's
okay, now, so that's your fucking statement. Where's your evidence of a gravitational wave coming out of that equation? Where is it? Where's the evidence that it makes a wave? Where is it? Where's the wave factor? Where's the part where it says the gravity gets insanely high, whatever, 5 light years away from this event taking place, because this huge wave crashes in there and just blows the fucking shit to pieces? Where is that? Demonstrate it. Demonstrate how you get rocks moving on the earth by the r² rule and then take it backwards to the source, and explain to me how everything closer doesn't, by dramatic multiplications, have the effects get more and more dramatic and catastrophically so anywhere in the vicinity of this thing.
Like, and he talks, and later he bashes me on the head with this equation, and he does nothing to prove it, or whatever, and it's like, you're just running your fucking mouth off. Yeah?
No, you are.
make
You,
it
you
yours
just
and-
keep making claims that you haven't demonstrated with anything. You haven't shown. Give me at least a link then. Give me a link to somebody who actually uses the equation and proves something. With real values in the equation, real variables.
You're just running your fucking mouth off. That's the only way to characterise it. Characterise what you're doing. I don't know when there's I feel like there's a lot more to be said.
Yeah, well, maybe you should take notes, or maybe you should try playing the video. But yeah, there was a lot of arguments made, and part of this, like I said, this technical layperson stuff, it's not useful. You have arguments on the table. You either deal with the arguments, or you don't deal with them. But there's no point in sitting there and trying to label the arguments and say, well, I don't have to deal with that, because that's a layperson argument. And we, the ivory towerers, we just don't have to worry about any of that shit. Bullshit, you don't.
Pretty much like that. To think that you can say, oh, this equation is just this, when you don't understand that equation, one little piece, yeah? When this is
Well, that's a pile of shit. I'll concede I just couldn't care less. But I have watched the Susskind lectures, so I understand when he's using the equation and breaking it down, and I understand the metaphors he's using to explain elements of the equation. So that's where the whole water flow thing comes from, because it's in the equation. I don't understand that because Susskind said, I'm just going to pull this out of my ass. No, it's part of the equation. And he's using the model to describe what the equation is formalizing. So the equation is the formalization, the model is the description, and they're consistent with each other. So what crime have I committed in recognizing that the equation has in it these concepts of how the variables are created by the fact that it behaves much like a fluid?
a third year graduate course, undergraduate course, and as the not number file, the 60 symbols channel guy says, you know, everybody, all the undergraduates in the end get special relativity, but plenty finish the course not, you know, they pass the module, but they don't really understand general relativity. Right? So understanding general relativity is required. It is a third year course, and you're not probably likely to understand it even then.
Yeah, well, you can go watch the 60 symbols videos when he's deriving the equation. He's talking like he's going to actually do an actual equation from start to finish, and he just ends up with another equation. You know.
The people who can understand it or want to understand it have to go on to masters and PhD, where you really internalise all these concepts. Yeah? They say, you know, you use typically 5 or 10% of your degree in the job you get, right? And there's the old adage, you use it or lose it. So you can expect that everybody with physics degrees.
Yeah, well, there's a fundamental disagreement between me and you. You think physics is about math. I think physics is about relationships, okay, between physical objects. They have properties, and they interact a certain way based on those properties. And they can be described by metaphor, they can be described by explicit model, they can be described in lots of ways, and the only way to describe them isn't in some formalization mathematically, because technically math doesn't sometimes suffice. Math isn't going to do it. You can understand even Mendel's P's or something much better by graphing it. You know, a graph does a better job than the formal equation of the probability.
Essentially, totally forgets it because it's just hurdle jumping. Yeah? People who internalise these things are the grad school, yeah? The graduates looking to be PhDs and to be actual academics and make academic progress with papers. These people really need to internalise it, and then you can get labeled.
Yeah, whatever this progress is, again, these ideas of qubits and all kinds of other phantasmagorical ideas that are so wackily even premised. This this idea of creating some kind of computer that can cheat its way to the answer. It doesn't have to actually do the equation. It can just jump to the future and get what the answer would have been if it did the equation. You think this is rational science? Well, I think it's just fucking nonsense.
People like me who make efforts to internalize it separately. But I confess that general relativity, I've reached my limits with it, yeah? And I'm just touching an understanding barely, right? But it's not of major interest, but what the quantum mechanics say.
Yeah, I just don't understand how you don't see the confusing duplicity of you in one half of the video saying space-time is dead, it's archaic, it's inadequate, it's doesn't do what it needs to do, it's not going to be the survivor, it has too many flaws, and then in the second half of the video use the equation as if it's the most solid thing in the universe and that it does all of these things that it doesn't do, which is somehow it makes mass turn into waves.
It has been my priority to understand for the longest while. So I won't blag you and tell you any more than I know, and help you and point you to what I've discovered. So
totally uninterested. You didn't point to anything. You just keep showing your witnesses. You keep saying these are witnesses for your case. I'm saying they're terrible witnesses, and so I'm going to keep cutting them a new asshole, because these aren't rational or good arguments, and they certainly don't counter any of the arguments I've made in defense of my theory. And again, you're just saying that somehow you don't have to answer when I find flaws in your theory. You don't have to explain them.
That because I've not derived for you the wave equation for general relativity is just a silly comment. Yeah, the idea is that you haven't proved they're lying, and yet
I haven't proved they're lying. I didn't accuse them of lying, did I? I accused them of contriving a new science that hasn't been tested by anyone. That's what I'm accusing you people of. I'm accusing of you all applauding, and you never even did the first step of any kind of not critique, but testing. You didn't test any of this. You're just the most amateur of trial lawyers. You just sit there and put any old sloppy witness on the stand. And then I tested a little bit, and you say, what are you testing? You can't test things like this, because we don't know the answer, and they're not telling us, so you can't test our witnesses, because they don't answer any questions. There are witnesses. You're not allowed to ask any questions.
The dissident science and so on, and you haven't proved that there is not good foundation, because to do so, you have to understand. To call them liars and deceivers as you do, you have to at least be able to talk in their terms.
Well, again, that's just a lie. So again, go ahead, show the people I've called liars. Okay, so I didn't call this little putz a liar yet. Okay, but maybe I will. But we'll see. But go ahead, show where I've called somebody a liar without evidence. Go ahead, name the name. Liar.
The constant strain to argue, I say the argument's technical. Your reply is, I don't care whether you say you have to argue technically. I'm going to keep arguing.
Yeah, that's a lie right there. That's not what I said. I said your argument's not technical. There's nothing technical in your stupid argument. There's nothing explicit. There's nothing descriptive. You're just doing a Ken Wheeler. You're saying hyperboloid. Okay? The mass tells the geometry how to geometry, and the geometry tells the mass how to mass. I mean, it's a pile of fucking goo. It's a shit answer. It's not a technical answer. It's a fucking infantile answer. It's so fucking simplistic and vacuous. It says absolutely nothing. Our formula says the formula is the formula. It's just bullshit.
Arguing with the lay physicist promulgators. Because that's all you can do. You know you can't argue with the technicalities of it. So you don't try to, and so you just wish...
No, I will try to, and I will succeed. All right? Because the technicalities are going to be as obvious as what this guy's going to do. Somehow he's going to turn minus 44 into minus 21. And I bet you it's going to be, we just needed to do it. There's not going to be a rational reason for that. There's not going to be any excuse for somehow all of a sudden we just have to make these waves more powerful, so we'll just do it.
Wash all the little points where I'm telling you, this is the technicalities of it, this is where it's at, and if it isn't apparent to you that you can't call the equation a lie without first understanding the equation and being able to articulate it, well, that's stupid on you.
Well, again, I'm not going to argue the fact that you have a convoluted equation that nobody can even decipher, okay, realistically. I haven't seen anybody do it, okay, and you say it confirms something. I'm saying, okay, well, you haven't proven that to me in any way. You haven't drawn a model. All you're saying is our equation says this is the equation. It's just self-validation. You're just basically saying, look, see this equation? It says so, so it must be so. We don't have to prove it so.
I demonstrate behind.
I demonstrate that there's no evidence of Einstein saying any of this was possible. Still no one's produced any evidence, yet they have his name labeled on it. I contend that I've read analysis of Einstein's field equation and how it predicts the precession of Mercury, and that it really is just about, there is no bent space-time that does it. It's just the recognition of the speed of gravity and the fact that the sun is a moving body itself, that an equal mass of the sun is moved by Mercury. A mass equal to Mercury's mass is moved within the sun.
People explaining that it's not really a flaw, and rather than thinking, you know, and dealing with, first of all, it is really a flaw, and I'll make an argument somehow and demonstrate it's not really a flaw, you know, he just goes over his head, and he just talks and says, well, it really is a flaw, and blah, 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 and Susskind says it's really a flaw. No, I play the quote, and he begins all the video and goes through it saying, yeah, Susskind.
So he says there's some flaw in the fluid model. So he says that Susskind says somewhere there's a flaw in the fluid model. I haven't seen it, so again, just post me the link of where Susskind says, no, all of this fluid stuff I'm talking about, it really doesn't explain the force accurate. There's a flaw. Here's the flaw. At least Feynman showed the flaw. When he said there can't be particle gravity, he showed the flaw. He said, look, it's like rain. You can't, if you run in the rain, you're going to get hit in the face more by the rain. So at least he showed what the flaw was. So then you can make a rational counter-argument to why that's not a flaw. But I can't rationally counter-argue an argument you're not articulating. You say there's a flaw, you don't show the fucking flaw.
Says it's a flaw, and it's really exactly a flaw, and everything's exactly a flaw. When I play the quote, I'm saying, nobody's saying space is actually a fluid. Right? That's because it's a field. The field is an abstract.
He says, nobody's saying it, like I said, and the guy says it. It's in his own video, and his own witness says the word exactly. Fuck. And then he says, nobody says it. And then he says Susskind is somehow saying there's a flaw in it, when no, Susskind said, I'm not saying it's a fluid. Okay? He's not saying it's a fluid. He's just saying it's, as a model, it works. I mean, if it's not a fluid, it's something just like a fluid. That's what he's basically saying. If it's not a fluid, it's pretty much the same thing as a fluid. Fluid spelled backwards, maybe, but it's fluidy.
To model it. Yeah? The fact that it's a very good analogy, and the fact that they really think it's an emergent thing anyway, and you can't drop the act.
Okay, so again, this emergent word. What does that mean? It's an emergent thing. Emergent out of what? In what form does it emerge? So it's an immaterial thing, is your argument. It doesn't have any physicality. Is that your argument? It's not a ton, a virtual photon. So when they say virtual photon, no, it's just an emergent blah. Blah, 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 blah. It's just blah, 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 blah. It's nothing. It's blah, 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 blah. Well, I say bullshit, and I think I've demonstrated bullshit.
Yeah, that they're saying it's still a push thing. No, it's not a push thing. I've been through the whole geometry argument. Yeah?
No, you haven't been through any argument. You haven't made an argument. Please, make your argument, put it in one fucking video, okay? Title the video, My Argument That Hasn't Been Responded To, you lying piece of shit. There's not a single fucking thing you've raised I haven't responded to and answered completely. You're just fucking lying to say that there's some issue that I haven't listened to your fucking idiotic, inane, fucking goddamn nitpicky bullshit and that I haven't responded to. You lying sack of fucking shit.
There are two sides to this equation, a geometry and a thing. On the one side, you look and it looks like perhaps a flaw. On the other side, it looks like geometry, okay? And there's an equal side, though. So it isn't as simple as just the focus.
Oh, so it's only half the equation that's broken. It looks like a flaw on this geometry side, but the math side looks fine. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, just keep rewriting your testimony.
On that. The reason it's not a flow is because the model is abstract. And there's no concrete. No.
Abstract. So what does that even mean? Is that more of this emergent crap? So we're trying to accurately describe reality, and you're saying that you're using something that's completely an abstraction in the sense of, okay, I could see you can use like SpongeBob as an analogy, right? I mean, yeah, they're sort of like people, and you could say, okay, so yes, it's abstract, it's a little bit distorted, but the concept of 2 legs and 2 arms, lots of, things are similar and are workable. So how is the abstraction somehow not accurate? See, it's still close enough. They can make animated movies of like talking bugs. You get the idea that they're people-like. It's not so abstract. The kernel of the function is still being conveyed with the metaphor. Fables can do that, some of them. They can use animals in the fable, and we still get the idea that we're really just using animals so we don't have to give things a human face. But the concept is still a human concept.
Mechanical explanatory nature of such an abstract thing. This is just purely mathematical. And all
yeah, again, so this purely mathematical universe is just, so that's your theory, okay? We will never agree on anything because I don't think it has a fucking thing to do with anything being mathematical except by accident. The speed of light isn't some sort of, the math tells the light how fast to go. No, the light went a speed and now you can mathematically define it relative to other speeds, but that's a byproduct of the physical thing having a physical function. So again, you're saying you're going to make your equations are going to define what the Rube Goldberg looks like. I'm saying bullshit. The Rube Goldberg exists, and you derive equations by recognizing that there's functions that follow rules. And that's all. So you identify some of the rules. And that's what we're trying to do, is accurately describe the rules. And the rules are obviously going to be dependent on whether you think things are pushing each other somewhere or pulling each other somewhere. So you have to get those answers correct.
These analogies are just to help little people like you get the head around it a little bit. And maybe
fuck you. Fuck you.
Have chats in the bar or what with your friends.
Bullshit, bullshit answers.
If you really want to know, it's for the younger generations to also watch that.
Yeah, right. Younger generations should watch your duplicitous bullshit. Bent space is dead, except for the formula, and I think the formula is the physics. I think the math is physics, so therefore it's not dead. But I agree with that guy who says it's dead, it's useless, but no, it's perfect. Yeah, that's really good for the young ones. You fucking pervert.
And maybe be inspired to go on and do graduate physics, undergraduate and graduate and grad school.
And yes, what have they done for the world? Except a bunch of hypey bullshit.
If you want to say, oh, they're still arguing as like it's a push. That's his other big thing. It's a push. They're still saying it's push. It's still saying push. No, that's not a push. The high-end people are not. Yeah, it's emergent.
No, they're arguing it's push, asshole. They're pull, pull, pull. I'm the one arguing push, douche. push has to be something that pushes. You see, it isn't dependent on any fucking bullshit notion of some fake field of mathematics, some fake geometry. Geometry doesn't push. Things push. Physical things push.
I mean, a philosopher, a so-called philosopher, saying emergent, what does that mean? Yeah, he's like, yeah, right, exactly. Am I wasting my fucking time?
Yeah, well, this isn't philosophy, and it isn't even the only thing I think you can legitimate talk about in terms of emergent is things like consciousness or something, phenomenon that is represented by a combination of circumstances. But to say that there's physical properties that are emergent, in my opinion, is nonsense. Physical properties, a physical thing isn't an emergent thing; it's a byproduct. So I just think the idea of using the word emergent to describe different things, like what water buffaloes emerge out of their ancestors. Well, duh. That doesn't make any sense.
If you could understand the arcane lectures, if you could understand Maldacena, these are I probably phrasing it sounds like one Maldacena. Yeah, you can look, Maldacena's pretty good. I did look at him. Yeah, him and Susskind's ideas. Susskind feeds off this guy. Susskind.
Yeah, whatever. So, your heroes, okay, not mine. So yeah, why should I watch a bunch of inane mathematics? You think the universe is run by this slop? Okay, that's what you think. I don't. We probably shouldn't talk to each other. This is as dumb as me talking to some religious kook. Because no, I don't think that's the universe. The universe is things interacting, and they have properties. And we've been over this word of things have properties. You don't think we have properties. You don't think consciousness is a property. You don't think that we can describe these different categories of properties and again call that a property when you fit on these different categories. So you don't understand the idea of properties. Properties are what's defining. Properties are the laws. The rules. Not this fucking mathematics. And again, I don't hate mathematics. I'm just saying it's not physics. It's not describing what the fucking shit is. How it physically functions. It's not a fucking useful model for understanding the mechanism. It's what you use if you need to find some answer to some question about what will happen in the future. But it has nothing to do with understanding the past.
He's very, very old. He's less so. He's tapering off and is more of a communicator these days. But he's still, to my mind, up there. But he feeds and cites a lot of Maldacenas. There are things Maldacenas work, and same with this Nima Arkani Hamed guy. These are the trailblazers.
Yeah, whatever. If you want to bet on their failure, okay? I'll bet on their failure. String theory and many worlds bullshit. Yeah. Well, fuck you. Nonsense.
Also, the elderly, the people who were working on the inflationary models. The Russian guy, I mentioned him earlier. Yeah. The truth is you can't watch these documentaries because you can't understand them. You're lost.
Yeah, whatever. I don't waste my time watching religious sermons either. But yeah, I'll concede. You're saying you do understand Einstein's equation, yet you aren't willing to do his equation. Okay. I say bullshit. I say you understand that yes, okay, the equation is insanely complex, and for a mechanism that is basically pretty functional, simple in terms of the actual variables that exist. The actual variables in the equation aren't that complicated.
In the first 5 minutes, right? I mean, let's be honest. When I have to explain to you what acceleration is, and then it's not distance, it's 10 meters moving by, it's just you can't even understand.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, right. So if I would have said 2 seconds, if I would have said when I'm in my statement that I move 10 meters per second in 2 seconds at that rate, because then I would have been correct. So if I used a 2 second allotment of time, my statement would have been correct. But because I did it not acknowledging the time it takes to get up to speed, so this is some grand victory for you. Yeah, whatever, asshole.
basic undergraduate course that you profess to have now made you eligible into the club.
I know, I wouldn't be in your fucking idiotic club, your we club, because you got all the wrong answers. You don't understand shit about reality, life, physics, chemistry. You don't understand anything, you dumb fuck.
Certainly, that guy, he's a great inspirational teacher, but he's not at the cutting edge of developing new theories. You know, the old guy with glasses, I forget his name now.
The old guy with glasses. Yeah. Yeah, physicist with glasses. Oh, yeah. I guess you mean this stupid guy. Yeah, he's just show, though. Too much show.
Yeah, so, rant over.
Yeah, whatever. Crap over. So yeah, I really have no interest in being part of your we club. I'll bury you, and that's the truth of it. Okay, you're going to be on the ash heap of shit-talking, potty-mouthed, motherfucking, naysaying, nitpicking, fuckwit, duplicitous piece of shit. All right, because that's all you've been, is a dishonest hypocrite. All right, you don't challenge your own fucking we club by the same standards you challenge everybody else. And it's fucking glaringly obvious. You dishonest fucking intelligence bigot. Fuck you. I'll get to the other one in some future date.